Hey guys, Nishquick here. So it's been a while since I did a usability analysis video about UX and UI in video games. My mentor in all things UX design and I were discussing the evolution and change of usability and accessibility in the Xenoblade Chronicles series, and decided to analyze each game in the series. I'd make the videos, and he'd write Medium articles, and we'd both collaborate on it. This first analysis will be on Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch. In this video, I'll be sectioning things off by analyzing the combat design, HUD and UI design, and the overall player experience. And this is how it's going to be for each of the analyses I do for the Xenoblade Chronicles games. Also, check out my mentor Chinu's Medium article in the link below. It's a really awesome look into the development of Xenoblade Chronicles and how UX is prioritized in the game development process. Thanks again for working on this with me. Oh yeah, and one more thing. If this is your first time on the channel, my name is Nishquick, and if you love video game analysis, reviews, and casual discussions, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to never miss an upload and stay up to date on all my latest content. And give this video a like if you enjoy it, it really helps out the channel. Also, sound off in the comments below. Do you look for good UX and UI practices in video games, and do you think Xenoblade Definitive Edition does a good job in this? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so let's talk. And without further ado, let's jump into my usability analysis of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So a lot of the combat design is quite different from the main user interface of the game, but it's got a lot to it, so let's start with that. As you can see here, this arts palette is long and massive, and the more arts you receive, the more arts pop up down here. But thankfully there's a limit. When I first started this game, these arts felt so weird just sitting down here, and with the base controls, it's honestly a little annoying to scroll through them. As you can see here, you have to take your thumb off the analog stick and move it down to the D-pad, and it's a little annoying and cumbersome if you ask me. What's nice is the Switch itself allows you to remap buttons on your Joy-Cons or Pro Controller, but unfortunately you can't do it in the game itself, so all your buttons will be remapped for every single game you play. On the other hand, games like Nier Automata allow you to remap your controls within the game itself, which is a very welcome change, and a nice accessibility feature. One cool quality of life feature though is if you press up on the D-pad, it'll take you straight to the middle of the arts palette, which is used for talent arts, chain attacks, or running away from enemies, which can be toggled with up or down on the D-pad in the middle. This whole button mapping thing is personally annoying to me because in Xenoblade, I usually like to move and auto attack at the same time. And while I'm moving, I like to scroll between my arts to see which art I want to use at that specific time in the battle. And with art scrolling assigned to the left and right buttons on the D-pad, it's annoying that you can't move and scroll your arts at the same time. So remapping to ZL and ZR actually really benefits you in this scenario. About the arts themselves though, the icons in the arts are very indicative of their effects and what they will do. There's text underneath as well, but it's pretty difficult to read, even with a slight drop shadow on the text. It still takes some effort to read. I personally blame the font and contrasting. On that note, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition has a very strange and unusual kind of font. It's somewhat indicative of the tone of the game, but it's also a little annoying to read. And on top of that, with the art descriptions, it just doesn't help. With these art descriptions, it would be nice if there was a better background to help with legibility. Just something I thought about. If there was better contrast, it would make this text a little easier to read. But then again, these icons are great. Like many say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, so just seeing these art icons and colors is sometimes enough to make a decision on which art to use without even reading the description. When in battle, you might get random B button QuickTime events, which are prompted when you do well in battle. This raises your party tension and affinity. This can be a little abrupt, but what's nice is the battle slows down for you to promptly hit the button. What's a little annoying is how it fills up the whole screen, but then again, I don't see how else they could have done this, or else it would have been easily missed. Another nice nod is the tension indication for the party members on the left side of the screen is shown by how angry they look. And when their tension and morale is lower, they look a little disappointed and defeated. But those health indicators / HUD elements are nice, since all they really need to show are the characters' faces and how they're feeling. Of course, along with their health and EXP bars. Here's something I really hate though. Adding buffs and debuffs to enemies triggers a notification pop-up on the bottom right of the screen to show what just happened. It also gives you the option to expand the message by pressing the minus button. What's truly annoying is how slow these pop up. Just take a look at this footage. And some of these notifications come in so late that they don't matter anymore. And they even continue to pop up outside of the combat. I just wish these notifications would be faster or eliminated entirely, or just have them as a quick pop-up text in the combat itself. But, thankfully, these can be turned off entirely in the settings. Thank you, Monolith Soft, for this accessibility and quality of life feature. So now, we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of UX and UI of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Here, I want to do some comparisons to Xenoblade 1 on the Wii as well, since the visual and quality of life improvements in the Definitive Edition really make for a greater and more enjoyable user experience. So here's the menu of Xenoblade 1 on the Wii. Let's ignore the graphics here, it was on the Wii after all, but the menu just seems a little lacking in personality, and is a little dull, frankly, in my opinion. The colors and the overall design and vibe and personality is a little drab, but it also fits, because Xenoblade 1 is the more sci-fi and grungy of the three mainline games, and it's got that steampunk feel, so it does in a way fit, but from a UI perspective it doesn't have that much of a clean look to it. In comparison, look at the menu of Definitive Edition. The information architecture is similar, but the design of the elements are cleaner and more concise. It's more pleasing to view with brighter and pleasing colors while still retaining the tone of the game. One thing to note though is the Wii version has larger text compared to Definitive Edition, making things a little easier to read. One menu I particularly liked was the arts menu in Definitive Edition, where you can customize your arts palette and level up arts. Swapping is as easy as selecting two arts to swap their places on the palette, or equip them if they are in reserve. Button indications for changing characters and submenus helps as well. The skill tree menu is a little more confusing, but once you figure out what it all means, it makes it a little more manageable. Highlighting skills that can be equipped and graying out skills that cannot be equipped allows for easier allocation of these skills, and on top of that, the skills are shaped in particular ways so you know which exact skills can be linked between characters. I mentioned the settings menu earlier, and that has a lot of options to make gameplay smoother. And toggling between options is easy, and if an option is vague, there's a nice description of it on the bottom to help out. Player experience. This is going to be fun to analyze. This will include general user experience design related choices and features that add to a more positive experience for us users and players of this game. Those of you who've watched my usability heuristic analysis videos might know what I mean. First of all, I just want to say the setting of this game is amazing. You're exploring the bodies of two massive, gigantic titans, the organic and biologically based titan Bionis, and the mechanical and robotic titan Mechonis. Just this setting adds such a grand amount of scale to the game. It makes the game at times feel so much larger than it actually is, and you really feel this when you're exploring places like the Bionis leg, back, and shoulder. and even the fingertips of the Mechonis. Speaking of setting and locations, Xenoblade is very familiar with day and night themes, a constant motif that changes to reflect the time of day depending on which area you're in the game world. For example, here is Gower Plains' day theme. During the daytime, and here is Gower Plains' night theme, which plays during the nighttime. This isn't always the case though. Sometimes the night theme for a particular area can change the vibe and atmosphere so much that the song is entirely different. For example, here is Satoral Marsh's day theme during the daytime. And here's Satoral Marsh's night theme, which plays during the nighttime. There's another location that does this too. Here's Valak Mountain's day theme. And here's Valak Mountain's night theme. Really cool details to really immerse you in the world that is built in this game. One thing I really want to shout out is the minimap and quest tracking in this game, which is a big improvement from Xenoblade 1 on the Wii. Anytime in the game, you can toggle between your active main quest and side quest. Doing so will change the quest marker on the minimap. If you're targeting your main quest, it will be yellow. If you're targeting a specific side quest, it will be blue. The dotted lines tell you exactly where to go, so you aren't fumbling around and lost in the expanse. Also, the iconography is very helpful. All quest-related objectives are shown with exclamation marks, and of course the blue ones are for the ones you're currently tracking, but the red ones show objectives for quests that have been accepted but are not currently being tracked. So along the way, when completing other quests and main story objectives, you may stumble upon some other fetch quests that can easily be finished off, which are the red exclamation marks on your map. Enemies that can be defeated and reap quest rewards are also highlighted with their respective exclamation mark color. Also, white exclamation marks indicate quests that have not been accepted yet, which are very common in towns and areas you come across in the game. Switching between main story and side quests is also very easy and efficient. All you do is just press ZR and swap between them with the side buttons on the D-pad, left and right. On the original game on the Wii, quest tracking was a nightmare. You weren't told which item orbs or enemies drop which items, so you had to run a mad goose chase around the large maps to find one particular rare item drop, which could take upwards of many hours. Also, the navigation was also a little annoying. An arrow pointing you in the right direction is nice, but its orientation is very awkward and doesn't help much with the changes in elevation you might find in the world. One other amazing thing about the map is if you press down on the left analog stick, you get an overlay of the map with some decreased opacity, so you can still tell where you're going. This makes it so you don't have to constantly keep switching menus to access the map, which would lead to frequent pauses in the gameplay. This is also present in Xenoblade 2 and 3, so that's some nice consistency in the Xenoblade Switch releases for the series. Camera controls are nice too. You don't really use that much, but they're a nice quality of life feature to have, to cater to how exactly you want the camera to be oriented around your party. So, what did you think? Did any of this stick out to you as you played the game? And if you haven't played the game, which usability practices did you find the most interesting? And what do you think should have been changed or done better with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition? Let me know in the comments below. And once again, a big thank you to my friend and mentor Chinu, who worked on this with me. Check out his Medium article down below. And be on the lookout for usability analysis videos on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3 in the upcoming new year. And once again, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things gaming, reviews, analysis, usability studies, and discussions. This is Nishquick signing off. Have a great day.